naturally. X Natural Mineral Water. Simply natural.
Thanks for staying with us, TVXYZ and Wazor TV. As you are aware by now, John Mahama is on the move, and our team is following his campaign tour. This morning, he has been engaging various groups. He just ended his engagement with people with living with physical challenges. Earlier, he engaged assembly members, and you may have monitored our live telecast, and the discussions have been frank, and issues raised reflect what has informed the promise to reduce ministerial appointees, for example, to save money to pay assembly members. He's talked about how he wants to cap monies paid to the various assemblies and make sure people living with disability manage those monies themselves to improve their living conditions and also to explore other opportunities. This afternoon, I've been joined by Rex Omar. He's well known in the entertainment industry. He's one of the NDC spokesperson on the promise in the People's Manifesto on the creative arts industry. I'll be engaging one of his colleagues, but let me first welcome Rex. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
You look very handsome.
Same to you, Eric.
You know why I'm saying so?
No.
When I was very young, your name was all over, Rex Omar, and I remember all the songs.
Yeah.
I was in secondary school then.
Yeah.
But I sit here looking older than you, and you are still very young, but for the grey hair. What is the secret?
Eric, I started very early. I mean, I did my first album at age 15, you know, so you can imagine.
Okay.
So people have heard of the name Rex Omar very long ago, thinking that I'm some 70 years old.
I've always thought you were about 80 years.
No, I'm still at my early 50s.
Very good.
I don't have a resentment. I mean, if something disturbs me, if I can deal with it, I deal with it. If I can't deal with it, I let it go. So I think, apart from God, that has been the trick. Yeah.
Well, this afternoon, I want to engage him on what the NDC plans to do to improve on those in the creative arts industry. It's not going to be alone. I'd also want to welcome Sadiq Abdullahi Abu, who speaks for the NDC on promises made in the manifesto. Abu, good afternoon. As for you, I can bully you small. How has it been, the creative arts industry?
Well, this year has been bad for the creative industry. We've been one of the hardest hit industries relative to the outbreak of Corona. And so it's been quite a difficult year for all of us in the creative industry. But we're hopeful. We're hopeful that subsequently.
So when we come back, I want us to take a very short break, listen to a spot of music. When we come back, we'll look at the issues in the manifesto and what you must know before you take a decision to vote in the 2020 elections. I'm told I'll be looking at that in the course of the discussion. But let me start with you, Rex. When we talk about the creative arts industry, for me as an ordinary person who doesn't know much of what or where you belong to, my thinking is that it's about those who act movies and those who sing. That's all. Is that what the creative arts industry represents?
Thank you, Eric. No. The creative economy or the cultural industry is a very huge one, and we've divided it into 6 thematic areas. So if you permit me, I'll just elaborate it for people to understand and so as to be able to capture people who fall within this industry. The first area is cultural and natural heritage, and underneath it comes museums and then virtual museums. Second, archaeological and historical places, cultural landscapes, and natural heritage. This comes under the cultural and natural heritage.
Let's break them gradually.
Okay.
The first 3 you have mentioned.
Yes.
Can you explain further for us to appreciate what really you mean?
So, anywhere in Ghana, we have a lot of museums. And then because of technology now, elsewhere in Europe, they're also doing virtual museums. So, Ghana, if you talk about our museums, I mean, there's nothing to write home about. I mean, they're all in the deplorable states and nobody actually cares about it. and it falls within the creative economy.
Okay.
Museums are where people go and look at artifacts and historic events and pictures, like Kwame Nkrumah's books and all those Yas Antoine and all those historic.
So the castles, for example, or the forts fall under this?
They do.
Okay,
they do
so you can go ahead to educate us.
Yeah, so these are some of the areas. And then you talk about archaeological and historical places. Like this is what comes to castles and places like there's a place that they say Konfanochi planted some a sword and you can't pull it. There are so many places like that in this country that has been neglected. So these areas also fall under it. And then cultural landscapes. You know, we have a lot of cultural landscapes.
I think it's clear. The name alone explains.
And then
so you can walk us
natural heritages. Natural heritages like Bosun trees and all those places. You know, these falls under some of these things. Then we go to second one. We go to performance and celebration. Underneath, this is where you come to performing arts. Those who are into acting, who are into drama, who are into all these things. And then this is where music comes in. And then music in all its forms. All musical equipment that is manufactured and everything that has to do with music comes under here. And then you're talking about festivals, fairs, and feasts. These are where the event organizers and festivals and all these things, cultural festivals, musical festival, any type of festival comes under here. Then the third one, you're talking about visual arts and crafts. This is where you have the fine arts, people who go into painting and all the
like the art village we have around the Kwame Nkrumah Mausoleum, for example.
Exactly, and then art exhibitions and all those things. Those who do
Kente, for example.
No, Kente.
That's another category.
Another category.
Okay.
Then you come to photography. Those who do different types of photography are part of it, and then you come to crafts. Those who weave kente is where those who weave baskets and those who do beads and any form of craft comes under this. They all fall within the creative economy. Then the third one, you're talking about books and press. All printing presses come under it. All
printing presses?
Oh yes.
I never knew.
All those who write books, magazines, news magazines, all of them comes under it. Other printing materials, all of them fall under it. Libraries, including virtual libraries, all of them comes under the creative economy, and book fairs.
But for this education, naturally I would have considered books, libraries, and all those things under another sector, maybe education.
Exactly.
I never knew categorically they fall under this sector. They all
fall under this sector, and you are going to even get more shocked. Now, the fifth one, you're talking about audiovisual and interactive media. Underneath, you come. This is where films come in. Film in its entirety, film and video. That's where they fall. Then you come to television and radio, including internet live streaming. So all that is happening here falls within the creative economy. Then you go to internet podcasting, and then you go to video games, including online video games. So those people who create video games and those who create online video games, all of them fall under the creative economy.
This looks like a huge untapped area as far as our part of the country is concerned. I'll come back to you to expatiate more on the categories that fall under the industry. But let me just come to you briefly, Abu. This is a virgin area where, if it is properly managed, government can tap a lot of resources and we can open up opportunities for the youth especially.
Yes.
When we talk about creative arts industry and the economy, what really does it mean? Is there any potential there now as we see? And then with reference to the NDC manifesto for which we speak.
Yes, I mean, there's a lot of potential in the creative economy or the creative industry. It has a lot more potential to create wealth, not only for the country, but also to create job opportunities for younger people. The creative industry still holds, or is still one of the industries that where when you complete school or complete your training, you don't necessarily have to wait for somebody to employ you for you to begin. I mean, I know a number of photographers who, right from when they finish their training or their school, immediately went into it and started photography. We know a number of other people as well that learned on the job in becoming managers and all of that. So it has the potential of employing a lot more people. When you look at the areas that he's been mentioned, take a look at media, for instance. When you talk about Wes or this particular production that we're working on currently, there's a number of other young people that are here that are getting some bit of sustainable employment because they are working in the creative economy. Take a look at all the bigger media houses. Some of the media groups have more than 1,000 people they've employed and all of that. Now, the Fashion and Dressmakers Association of Ghana have more than 50,000 members, and that's a very, very strong and powerful space. So, all in all, the creative economy has the potential to employ a lot more people from the country. Most especially as well, it has the potential of adding to our GDP. When you look at the various different sectors, when we do events, for instance, we are supposed to pay taxes, you know, so it adds to it. When the artists perform, ideally, they're also supposed to pay taxes. So it has a connection to our economy and the GDP.
Okay, so I'll come back to that. But for those who have just joined us, this is Wezo TV on Facebook and YouTube, and it's also live on your TV set. That's TV XYZ and other platforms. And the conversation we are having now is about NDC's manifesto, the People's Manifesto, going into 2020 elections. And the two gentlemen here, Abu, you just listened to, and Rex Omar, who is very known on TV everywhere, they are helping us to understand what really is in the manifesto. And the first part of this conversation is for you and I to appreciate how broad the creative arts industry is. Rex, let me come to you. Abu, just hold on a minute. You give us the background of this industry, the various sectors which fall under the broad name creative arts. Walk us a little further into what you were talking about.
Thank you very much. I will finish this quickly. The last one is design and creative services. Underneath, you have fashion design, fashion and its accessories. So this is where you have the beauticians, makeup artists, those who design the clothing, those tailors, and anything that has to do with fashion, barbers, hairdressers, all of them fall underneath. Then you come to graphic design. Then you come to interior design. You come to landscape design and architectural services, industrial design, and advertising services. All these things fall underneath. And you ask Abu a question that I would want you to know so that people will understand. In 2015, North America raised 620 billion from the creative economy. 620 billion dollars in 2015 alone. And it created 4.7 million jobs. 4.7 million jobs. And to their GDP, it was 3.3%. Creative economy. If you go to Europe, they even got much more money. They raised $709 billion. It created 7.7 million jobs, and it was 3% of their GDP. If you go to Latin America and the Caribbean, they got even bigger. They raised 124 billion from creative economy. All those soap operas that they are exporting here, we are showing to our people. Yeah, we are putting our money into their people's pocket.
As you go with the statistics, I'm a bit stunned. You could see that I was just looking at you. The surprise is about whether the sectors or the groups you have mentioned are aware they are part of this industry and whether they are well coordinated as we speak today. That
is the reason why, and that is what makes the People's Manifesto a master stroker. Because, you see, the People's Manifesto was based on some of these documents that I'm quoting from. This People's Manifesto was not done by some few people sitting somewhere churning out some ideas. It was brought together by the industry, and NDC put it together. So most of the people that fall within this creative economy now, they are finding themselves with the People's Manifesto. And we are so happy now. You have game developers, software developers, young people being like, for the first time, hearing that Ghana is talking about them. And everybody is feeling that, oh, so I didn't know I was part of it. Now, how many years haven't we been doing this kente and smoke and all these things in this country? But they did not feel that they belong.
Seriously, I didn't know I'm part of it.
You didn't know,
but I'm in the media, but I didn't know.
You are part of it.
The media is now I can be serious.
And then for people in these creatives to be very serious, NDC didn't just even do only this. NDC is going to pass the broadcasting bill.
We'll look into the
all
details.
Those, yes.
But Abu, just briefly, so that we look, because I've heard of the Media Development Fund was talking about the bill to be passed. I want us to go a bit further into the introduction to this particular subject.
Yes.
Now, my earlier question was, are people aware they belong to this industry?
Yes.
Are they well organized?
Yes.
You are out there, a young man, you have a talent, and I'm sure you have peers you are moving along with. What is so unique that you think must be brought to fore as we go into the 2020 elections?
Well, I mean, to deal with the first question of whether they are well organized, yes, they are well organized under the various groupings. Already we know of the popular ones like Musica, we know about the GAMRO, for instance. There's a new one, which is the Events, Meetings and Producers Association of Ghana, called the MPAG. There's a Fashion and Dressmakers Association of Ghana. There's FIPAG. There's various different groupings.
Models
Exactly. There's various different groupings that seeks to organize these groups under one umbrella and try to advance their cause. And so, in terms of being organized, what is unique about what we are looking to do? First and foremost, like Ankarex is telling you, the recognition from the state side in terms of a policy perspective, from the policy perspective, in having to enable them and having to essentially empower and enable that particular industry to us to work, create more wealth, to enable it and create more jobs for the people. That is one of the unique things that draws the people to this particular manifesto, and our plan to be able to, do that. Obviously, if we're able to do that, this will go a long way to not only empower the sector, but really help to also project the country. Creative Arts has the potential to not only create wealth and create jobs, but also has the potential to market and promote the country. Music is it's become one of the huge focuses. Within the last few months, a number of artists continue to create songs that they put out there, which helps to, export and promote the goodness in the country.
So now let's come into the politics of it. When I was at the university, I knew about Panafest. I knew about the national theatres.
Yes.
At that time, Cape Coast was thriving because it was almost the central point, which was actually receiving people, Ghanaians in the diaspora or blacks in the diaspora and so on. At Sekondi then, there was a national theatre or a regional theatre which was being built but never saw the light of day before I left the Western region. In 2016, did these things feature in the campaign promises, and what has changed between that time and now, if any of the political parties, or let's say government today?
So
let me start with Abu. Sorry, I didn't mention. Let me start with Abu.
In the last 4 years, there's been a retrogression of the arts. There's been specific promises that have been made to us that have not been delivered. The NPP, for instance, made 18 promises to the creative, culture, and tourism industries. Out of these 18, 8 of it was specific to the creative economy or creative arts. As we speak today, not a single of that has been delivered yet. Not a single of that. We're saying it's always been talk shops after talk shops and talkability, but not a single of it has been done to be able to enable the space. And that's a huge disappointment to the professionals in the industry. And for an industry that has been one of the hardest hits within this 2020, for instance, it's surprising and even much more shocking that the government, because they don't have any plan in having to enable or knowing.
Isn't that policies or promises were made, they are sitting on the shelves, or you don't see the coordination of Ghana Tourism Authority or
I think there's an issue of lack of commitment.
To really project the concerns you are sharing.
The promises have been made, but I think it's an issue of lack of commitment. You see, from the year one, the industry kept on, pushing the government and trying to get some bit of timelines. The response we got was that we have 4 years mandate to fix this, and so we're going to fix it. Year two, the industry kept on pushing and saying that, look, it's important. Maybe people do not understand that. I've often heard that the creative arts industry, it's a privately driven one, and so we should leave it to go. No, people don't even get it that there's a huge part of it that the state needs to do to enable it. For instance, we passed the Film Development and Classification Bill when we left, just before we left power. The real intention behind it was to cure the problems that was in the film industry. Because the Film Development and Classification Bill, there's a part of it that specifies infrastructure, building of theaters in the various different regions. Beyond that as well, it was designed to to come with a fund which was going to avail funds to filmmakers and producers to enable them to produce. Because one of the major issues of the film industry has always come to funding. Because today, when you look at the fact that the distribution lines are being blurred, and the fact that they're producing more movies for distributing platforms like Netflix and co, which at its work enables them to create more wealth, you need a certain kind of funds to be able to produce at a certain capacity. The filmmakers today do not have it. Even the people that were part of the groups that campaigned for the MPP, which you call the Agenda 57 in Kumasi, for instance, they are hugely disappointed. They couldn't access the funding, they couldn't access the support, they couldn't access anything whatsoever, which this current government has put in place to be able to enable it.
Film villages or whatever.
It's never happened. Look, the MPP promised 9 theaters in the various regional capitals. Not even one. So what they did in Kofodia was that there was an existing building called by the Center for National Culture. They just went there, painted it, changed locks and doors, and then said they've created theaters. Take a look at Kumasi. Kumasi, for instance, we took pains to go to Kumasi to take videos of the Kumasi. The Kumasi Apatakese has been there for a lot more years than now. The vice president in his project tracker announced to the whole world that he's actually built a theater in Kumasi. Today, as we speak, the industry in Kumasi and the people in Kumasi are demanding and asking questions and telling them that come and point towards the theaters that you built. It's never happened.
Okay, so now let's look at the NDC manifesto. We've whet the appetite of our audience. Now they want to hear what is in there. I've gone through some highlights. The media development,
the media development fund. Yes.
What does it entail?
Okay, the media development fund is to help the media organizations and the people who work within the media. Because you see, most of the commercial banks do not understand the work of the creatives. For example, they are interested in giving loans and within 3 months they want the money back. And for example, if somebody in the media wants to say produce series, by the time you finish the 13-week series and start to show it, 6 months has elapsed, So that is the reason why the Media Development Fund comes in, be it education, be it supporting to help people within that industry. And the Media Development Fund is not coming alone for the media. There is something that passing of the broadcasting bill to help the media organizations.
We will look at the broadcasting bill, but I just want us to perhaps go
it connects to the Media Development Fund.
It is connected, but you will understand me when I manage to paraphrase the question I have.
Okay.
If I'm an ordinary musician or a young man with a talent, somebody who has been to NAFTI, for example, and I think that I've earned some skills.
Yes.
When you talk about the Media Development Fund, what are the potentials in there that I can tap into that can open up perhaps broader platforms for me to jump on?
When you take a look at the media space, the landscape today, that you realize that there's been a lot of complaints about foreign content, being on our television content. And in fact, when you speak to it, the response you also get from the television stations, most especially, is the fact that, well, they don't have a lot of, their excuse or the response is that they don't have a lot of quality productions to fill up the airtime. But what we recognize, what we realize is that it is not the exceptional production skills that was lacking. We have the producers, we've got the people here, but it's always boiled down to funding and to be able to create the necessary content for the television stations. So for a lot of these young people that are coming, we're creating a fund that makes it possible for you to be able to assess if you intend to create a content for television station or together with the television station. You'll be able to apply for this and assess the funding to produce the content to fill it out. Because the more reason why I said it's connected to the broadcasting bill is that the broadcasting bill is also going to specialize or specify, allocate airtimes for particularly to empower local content producers. So it's going to give or direct that local broadcasting houses should prioritize more local content on their airtime. So in our bid to do that, we need to be able to give them the necessary funding to produce the quality that these broadcasting houses needed. And also, if you look at our television stations again or on the media, you recognize the absence of content produced from Ghana for kids and women or female empowerment. It's very vital, but it's lacking. Also because it doesn't have the commercial elements to it. And so when you produce these things, it's not the kind of content that attracts heavy commercial sponsorship, and so it suffers. One of the things that media development will be able to do is be able to advance some of these grants and loans to people that are looking to produce these social impact programs to fly it on TV. So for us, we're thinking of it in totality, beyond having it to use it to empower the sector. We are talking about it within a social impact perspective.
So
as well.
if you just joined us again, this is a live conversation with Rexoma and Abu Sadiq. What we are doing actually is to look into the NDC's 2020 manifesto and what it promises for the creative arts industry. It's about 227, and so if you check around and you think there are friends you want to invite to join this conversation, ask them to look for Wizard TV, hook onto their YouTube or Facebook link, and then follow us. And if they are home as well, why not just tune into your TV, look for TVXYZ, and follow us as we have this conversation. We'll be taking a spot of music. I'm interested in one you played. Is it Papa Nono?
Papa Nono.
I would want you to talk about it, but before that music rolls, can you give us what else is in that manifesto promise that perhaps we'll talk about after the spot of music? So just mention a few and then we'll go for that music.
For we in the creatives, we believe that the game changer of the People's Manifesto is for NDC, new government, to decide to set up a new ministry purposely for the creative economy.
But don't we have it already? Ministry of Tourism Creative Arts?
That is Ministry of Tourism. You see, tourism alone is a huge sector on its own. And tourism is already structured in this country. So it makes the creative economy suffer. Because if you look at the sectors I enumerated, it tells you clearly that definitely the creative aspect will suffer, because you have Ministry of Tourism, you have the GTAs, you have the hot cards, so it's structured already.
That's a structure.
And it makes the creative economy suffer. So now there's going to be a new ministry that takes care of the creative economy, that will enable that sector for Ministry of Tourism to feed on it. Tourism always feeds on the creatives. You cannot, in any meaningful way, develop a tourism sector without the creative content. Without creative content. So when you try to develop a tourism sector without the creative content, then it's like you are not balanced properly. So that is the game changer for the entirety of the creative economy. That is what NDC.
So Rexoma has just explained there's more you need to know about the People's Manifesto, and if you belong to the creative arts industry, why not just stay tuned. Let's listen to Papa Nono. He will tell us why he's so much interested in this particular track.
John Mahama, a nation builder with a track record. The Rich Hospital, over 100 SHS schools. Tamaport expansion, the Kotoka Terminal 3, Papano Vision, Accra Digital Center, Bon Water expansion, Legon Medical Center, the Breakwater of Takrady Harbour, Cape Coast Stadium, Kitasi Defense, Saglemi Housing Project, University of Environment and Sustainable Development, Civil Aviation Training Academy, Masikejetia Market, Kwame Nkrumah Circle Interchange, Ho University of Health and Allied Sciences, 37 Military Hospital in Kumasi, Tamale International Airport, Ho Airport, Kumasi Airport expansion, many regional and district hospitals.
The first time I saw this song was on social media. That was when there was a lot of conversation, controversy, accusations, counter-accusations, false claims, all those things. What motivated this song?
Yeah, actually, 2016, we believe that we kept quiet for MPP to tag JM with so many negative things, and they just succeeded with their lives. So in going to 2020,
I remember incompetent.
Exactly.
Incompetent Mahama.
So we decided that we will be wide awake, and anything that they try, we will counter. So when we started this, we hear this papano, they started MPP, surrogates started throwing it about. We were thinking of what to do, and we knew that somebody was definitely going to follow it up with a song, because we know their modus operandi. So
the agenda was to give him a name and then pursue it with an agenda.
Exactly.
To let it stay.
So I was in Koforidua when one of MPP's people told me that, look, the MPP is sponsoring somebody to do a song. Then this song of Papano came, but what is the name of the artist? Sydney. So immediately I decided to go to studio. So on my way, I was driving very fast from Koforidua. So I called Sadiq. Sadiq, this is what is going on, and I want to counter it. What do we do? Then initially, so I was driving and I was thinking of a song.
So the Papano comes with some pictures.
Yes.
What really is it?
So I decided to go to studio to turn a lemonade to a lemon to a lemonade. So use the same Papano to highlight John Mahama's achievements. So there, Papano is talking about some man, and Papano is referring to some works of somebody. So over 48 hours, we're in studio creating the song, recording, putting the video together, because we needed to release the video the following day.
And it killed that dirty agenda.
Killed that dirty agenda.
But you see, while we have this conversation, I'm sure you will see the song play again on the quiet, and then you can see the things you referred to. I saw hospitals, I saw port expansion projects, I saw roads, I saw schools, and so on. For you, as somebody who speaks for the NDC, even though we are talking about the creative arts industry, would you say that it is a reflection of what really creativity is and what the industry can really do to project the positives of society?
Exactly. So creativity is used to project the positivities of the specific industry or specific country. So, for example, if I go out of Ghana, if they say Rex Omar, they qualify it with the Ghanaian artist. So anything good that comes of creativity qualifies the person who does it with his name or the country he comes from. So these are some of the issues that we're dealing with.
Okay, so let me continue the conversation because the focus is on the NDC manifesto. Abu, can you walk us through some of the highlights of what is in the manifesto?
Coming from the infrastructure background, it's good to also highlight one of the key points we made relative to infrastructure, connecting it to the creative arts. In our People's Manifesto in 2020, we're promising to upgrade NAFTI into a National University of Media and Creative Arts, and most importantly, and if you realize in the manifesto, it's been captured under the big push, also because we're looking at it to come with that massive infrastructure investment that it needs to, befitting of a National University of Media and Creative Arts. We come from the school of thought that you cannot develop any industry without thought leadership and that scholarship element of it. And so on the basis of that, we're looking to establish something that would drive the thought leadership agenda of the NDC relative to an industry. But most importantly, in terms of expanding the scope of upgrading NAFTI, NAFTI currently has a more limited scope, which is on the basis of film and then media training. But we're looking to expand it to include music, theater, and all of that. Now, the investment will include a lot of this. So there's been conversations about studio, music studio, sound stages, and all of those things. We think that today, and if you're looking to have a modern training of people for professionals for industry, you need to have a lot more of these things in there to be able to train them, to get them up to speed with what happens in the modern world and get them to produce the right kind of content, creative content that is desired across the world. And again, connecting it to using that to create more wealth and creating more jobs for.
Okay, I'll leave this question open. Maybe Rex may want to come in before you. NAFTI already has studios, and we know Ghana Institute of Journalism, or you go to AUCC, for example, they are training many people who come out as journalists in different forms. So it already exists. To the ordinary person, it already exists. So what is going to stand out from NAFTI being upgraded to maybe a different level?
If you realize,
I think that first and foremost, NAFTI lacks infrastructure. The number of people who would want to get into this space, they don't have the opportunities. So first, instead of us going to build studios and put them somewhere, we believe that the NAFTI infrastructure campuses in Accra, Kumasi, and Tamale, with the proper sound stages, proper audio studios, so that it becomes a teaching studio or whatever it is. So it's still open to the general public anyway, just like we deal with the teaching hospitals. Doctors go there for their practicals, yet it's open to the general public. So we want NAFTI to be, or NDC.
So we are going to expand
it and make it fully fledged, because right now, still the graduates take their certificates from another university. So we want it to be a standalone, autonomous, proper multimedia university. That's what we're looking at.
Okay, so that sounds good. And if I'm a student and perhaps I'm in NAFTI, I should be happy. What has been the response? I'm sure after the announcement and hearing that there is something in there for the industry, students naturally, or maybe lecturers, would have been engaging.
Yes.
What is the feedback so far?
The feedback is great. I mean, and also because, like we've always consistently been saying, the promises in the manifesto factored in the needs and aspirations of the industry. This is the things that they were looking forward to, and so the feedback really has been great. The next point has been the fact that actually we've moved from whether this is what they need or not, because quite clearly, and from the feedback we got from industry, this is what they need. We've gotten to a point where they are speaking about, is this thing doable and everything. We've explained to them a number of times, and I need to re-emphasize it now, is that we made a point to them that we have a president or presidential candidate who between 2013 to 2016 made a total infrastructural investment of $6 billion. And so if the same president is promising me that, or promising the industry that he needs only $10 billion to be able to, create meaningful infrastructure in the country, including one for the creative arts to enable or to drive the thought leadership. This is somebody that I believe and trust will. And obviously also because of the fact that getting $10 billion within the country, we don't think it's hard to do, because when you compare what the NPP is doing currently, NPP, with the funds that they've borrowed, when you put it together, all of it comes to just about 20 billion. And so if you have 20 billion and we just need half of it to establish meaningful infrastructure, including upgrading of NAFTI to come with the necessary studios, sound stages and everything to train the next batch of professional creative individuals and leaders, this is something that should be doable.
Good to hear that, Abu. Let me come to you, Rex, because I want us, we're talking about the broadcasting bill you had wanted to introduce in the earlier part of the conversation, but I just want clarity here. Maybe it will satisfy the curiosity around some of the things you are talking about. I think I understand that the NAFTI, for example, was under the Information Ministry. Is that right?
Yes.
And then later, because of government's uncertainty over the years or lack of focus, they've moved it to the Education Ministry, and they are benefiting from Get Fund.
Not education per se, but you're still on that.
But you are telling us that there will be a ministry that will be dedicated to the creative art industry. So that means that once that is sorted out, there is the assurance that NAFTI, like other institutions that fall under the sector, would have the clear focus for development.
It's very important, and that is the reasons, one of the reasons why, even though NAFTI is an educational institution, definitely it will fall under the Ministry of Education. But I believe that ministries they work together. So this ministry will make sure that everything that pertains to the creative economy will be their focus.
Wherever they may be.
So as to be able to always draw government's attention to that sector, a huge sector that has been neglected for a long time. Meanwhile, UN report says that this industry is the industry that employs youth and women than any sector. And at the same time, it is the most resilient industry world over. So we can, as a country, looking forward into the 21st century, neglect this sector.
Okay, so this is TVXYZ. This is Ways on TV on YouTube and Facebook. We are talking about NDC's 2020 manifesto, and the focus is on the creative arts industry. Now, let me share with you what I understand now. As we give you this live broadcast, we have cameramen not less than 5. We have IT directors who are managing everything you need to hear and watch. What you are following on Facebook is being managed by talents. Beyond that, we have sound engineers, we have drivers who must move with us, and then we have directors who actually look at the script that we bring to you. And if for just one production that is going to last 1 hour, you have as many as 20 people who are going to be part of it. Forget about all those working outside this place. You can understand the job opportunities and other things that will come along with it. And so if you have to create or improve the life or living conditions of people, this particular production as we speak has already given you a clear picture. Now let's look at the bill, that's the broadcasting bill. What is unique about it?
Okay, what's unique about it is it protects the broadcasting companies and also protect the local content providers.
Is it close to the film bill?
Film bill is
different.
So let me leave that to you, Abu. Yeah. Let's work on the broadcasting bill.
Yeah. Broadcasting bill works with productions that you do to feed broadcasting, and at the same time also the legal framework of how broadcasting industries work. For example, you have broadcasting stations, there's nothing that bars them from doing 100% foreign content. It's a private entity. You cannot go and tell him what to do or what not to do.
So it doesn't protect the local industry.
The local industry. It doesn't protect our culture. It doesn't protect. So for example, all these soap operas that will be showing in Ghana are created from somebody's country. You don't get it for free. You get it, you show, and you pay for it. Why don't we invest this type of money in our locals?
What has been missing along the line? Abu, sorry, I'm keeping you your appetite wet. Just keep salivating. I'll come to you. Now, when I was growing up, I used to watch Osofo Dati showcase in the bird. And then we have Dagbani and so on. Today, if I mention it to my kids, they don't know what it's about. Is it a result of the lack of focus with reference to the bill we are speaking about? That is why we are where we are.
Exactly. And then you see also globalization has done a lot to the whole world. I mean, now people must struggle. It's become a cultural warfare. Those days, globalization hasn't actually taken place, so we were able to protect it with law or no laws. But these days, we have to do specific laws to protect our culture and our identity, because we have cultural products that can also be harnessed to export, to be exportable. So these are the reasons why these laws are very important.
Okay, so Abu, let me come to you. Many a times we hear that, there was somebody who was very popular in the industry, he was all over TV, all over radio, and is dying a pauper or is appealing for money to survive. Now, because these things have happened over the years, I sit here today and I wonder, how should somebody like Ojentri, Daddy Lumba, name them, all the popular stars, Shatawale, Stoneboy, many of them I can't remember. This is the music industry. I have not talked about the film industry and so on. Why should any of them be interested in what we are talking about today and support the cause?
Well, so to them, there are two specific promises within the sector for them. One of it has always to be strengthen regulation to protect the I'll explain it later, to protect the copyright of artists and ensure that they get value for their works by enforcing the payment of user fees under the copyright regulations to 2010. I'll come to that. And then there's another part of it where we say we're looking to provide seed money for the creation of a special fund for artists, including aged and needy creative artists.
That's where the meat is, seed money.
Seed money. So we're looking to create a welfare fund for industry. We also are disturbed by the occasional stories or news that we hear about older people, followed on bad times and all of those things. These are things that also worry us, particularly these are younger people that are also in the industry. And so that's one of the things that we've managed to get the party to promise to provide seed money for a fund that will generally attract support from the public to be able to support all these other people. This also ties in to what we've already promised relative to health, providing a trust fund for kidney diseases and all of that. But most importantly, one of the reasons why these people fall on bad times had to be the enforcement and payment of user fees. These actors or musicians and everything have produced songs that have copyright elements of it, and so they need to be paid copyright user fees. So those that have taken part in movies and everything, they ordinarily should be under what you call ASOC, the Audiovisual Rights Society of Ghana, and they're supposed to earn residual income whenever you show or renew a content that they've been featured in. We need to be able to enforce these things and get them to be paid so that they can earn that particular money when they fall in bad times. These are money that is their hard work. These are money that they earn through their work, and they need to be paid on that. So that's one of the things that we're looking to do. And this also ties into one of the promises under the broadcasting bill. So realize that currently there's no law mandating the media houses to sort of log, in terms of when it comes to music, in terms of logging exactly what they play and all of that, and paying the appropriate statutory payment related to it. That's some of the things that we're looking to do, so that in this particular case, the likes of Gamro and ASOC will have a bigger revenue platform, a bigger revenue channel to be able to pay these people even in their old ages. Now, so these are some of the things that are very, very important for us. So providing the welfare fund for the needy aged musicians, which are something that is providing the seed money for that, which is something that's of utmost importance to us, and then enforcing the user fees and the payment of enforcing the compliance to copyright, and then the payment of user fees to these people who earn it through their hard work. These are some of the things that we're looking to do.
Abu and Rex Omar speak for the NDC on the 2020 manifesto, and the area they share their expertise is the creative arts industry. We'll be going for a spot of music. Rex, when we started the conversation, you told me you started as young as 15 years, and today you are still among the peers many people look up to. I want you to speak to your colleagues. Tell them exactly why you think this manifesto has enough to address the concerns you have shared over the years.
Thank you very much. I believe that anybody who has followed my career knows that I have been advocating for the creative economy all my life. And I believe that if there has ever been a time that hope has been restored to our economy, creative economy, is this People's Manifesto, because it's touching every aspect of the creative economy. The guy sitting at Bono waving kente, the guy sitting somewhere in Tamale or Bolga doing the basket hats, the guy sitting at a Bree Mountain as a sculptor, every aspect. You, the makeup artist who thought you were not part of us, you, the software developers and the gamers who thought you were not part of us, all the broadcasting people, everybody, hairdressers, textiles people, all of you understand that if you seek a future for yourself, if you want a destiny changer, this is the time. Go and vote for John Mahama, and this is the only time, and that is the only way we can have our own industry supported by the state, recognized by the state, and then open the doors for all of us. Now here is the situation. We have African Continental Market. The headquarters in Ghana. Are we going to just sit down? John Mahama in his previous time set up the Exim Bank. What are we doing to prepare our cultural products and to also use Exim Bank to export it to this bigger market? Exactly. Are we going to just sit down and be happy that, oh, the headquarters is in Ghana, and then what? So this is the time, a golden time for the creative economy. Go vote for John Mahama so that our lives will change.
When I spoke to you earlier, I got the impression that a lot of your colleagues are very disappointed today. Yes. Is it that expectations were hyped and never saw the light of day, or there is something beyond what the ordinary person may know about promises made and unfulfilled ones?
The expectations were hyped, and the most importantly, they look so forward to the current government in terms of the promises that they made to them. They made them tons and tons of promises. And
which specific ones stand out?
Well, they made a promise about the Naila sitting theaters, for instance. They made a point about establishing recording studios. They made a point about providing login to Gamro to enable them log and effectively pay. They made promises. They made a lot of promises, which they've not been able to fulfill. If I take a run through some of the promises, for instance, take a look at this, for instance. The MPP made promises such as,
while we are having the conversation, the video you see on the screen, what exactly is that, Abu?
So this is what the Vice President claimed to have been completed in Kumasi.
But so it's like an old project.
It's an old building. It's called Apatakese in Kumasi. And Correxia will tell you that this is the places that they used to play when he was coming up.
But why would the vice president tell the whole nation that this is one of their achievements?
Well, when we speak to the industry people, they claimed to have misled him. But quite clearly for us, we don't think that. I mean, we think that
because
the process is.
Look at those
this is not
blocks there.
This is not common.
They claim they're older than you.
Yeah, they claim yes. I mean, this is way older. If I'm correct,
it's not older than
15 exactly. this is an old building that the vice president claimed to have been completed. They categorically said that we've completed theaters in Kofodia and Kumasi. This can't be it. This doesn't. It's a far cry from anything that should be called a theater in the first place. Not to talk about even completing it. But they promised 9 large seating theaters. It's not happened, you know. And so for us and the industry, and the more reason why they are more disappointed in the NPP government for their non-delivery, it's the lack of genuine, what's it called? The genuinity in accepting that, look, we failed you as a sector. They promised to create a copyright court. That's not happening. They promised to pass a creative arts bill. We left them a draft just about the time we were leaving government of the creative arts bill. We left them a creative arts interim council. Till now, I mean, it's not been passed. We are just hearing that cabinet has just approved it. But if you know the processes of making the laws, you know that in the ways that it is, even if we want to pass it under a certificate of emergency, we should be just about beyond elections.
This is what I want us to do. We are talking about entertainment. The conversation has been too much.
Yes.
I just saw a text message and somebody was saying, how can you sit here and then you chat with Rexoma and we can't have a taste of some of the songs he's associated with.
That's a good one.
We can't go into the Rexoma and the songs you used to play, but I think there's one you've done about politics. Since you are using this platform to promote the political party you belong to, I want us to enjoy this one. It still has the Rexoma flavor.
We can trek Aza, we can trek Aza, come see, come sa Aza, dan kuda da de Aza, we can trek Aza, we can trek Aza, that's a strike from Aza, dan kuda da de Aza. One district, one factory, one village, one dam, saving the public as well. Theater in every region. And Troni Bini said, yeah, be arrested dollar no. And Troni Bini said, fuel prices be back from. And Troni Bini said, import duty so betty. And Troni Bini said, AC 350 SHS. Hey, Yabremo, Yabremo, Yabremo. Hey, Yabremo, Yabremo, Yabremo. NPP Yabremo, Yabremo, Yabremo. Nanado Yabremo, Yabremo, Yabremo. Bahomia Yabremo, Yabremo, Yabremo. Ghana Fosse Yabremo, hey, Yabremo.
The creative arts industry aspect captured in the People's Manifesto. I'm here with Rexoma and Abu, and they speak for that particular sector. And I want to read a few text messages. One is actually asking me to find out from you what will really change this time. It says, good afternoon, Eric. I want to thank Rexoma for his support, fight for upcoming musician. By God's grace, victory is coming. John and Jane, MPP never again. This one didn't come with a name. The one I read earlier was asking that beyond what we are all talking about, what is the assurance that it will be fulfilled? I don't know whether you want to respond. This one also says, okay, so you can go ahead and respond to it. I thought you had
okay, yeah, so I mean, if you realize earlier, I was speaking about the fact that you can base a lot of these assurances on the things that our candidates, our presidential candidate has done before. When we make a promise about the fact that we are coming to establish or upgrade NAFTI to come with the necessary infrastructural investment, befitting of a National University of Media and Creative Arts, obviously you can bank it on the fact that this same person who's promised to do all these things under a 10 billion investment plan has been able to do these things before with 6 billion. And this is a person who just at the time had only one oil field and didn't have the benefit of a bigger debt portfolio like this particular government, you know. And so we're saying that on the basis of that, We're saying that on the basis of all these things that we've done in the past, we've done it before, and we know how to do it. And obviously, there's a track record to base
you are here. You're supposed to be speaking to Ghanaians on the manifesto. Fortunately, we were able to track you down here and speak to you. But why are you here? Because I saw you somewhere when we were going around.
Yeah, thank you very much. So the whole idea is anywhere the JM campaign team is going, we take the lead. We go on all the...
So is it limited to JM, or you move on to maybe Prof. Nana Jino Pogbajiman's campaign
team? We move everywhere.
We move everywhere
the campaign team goes.
Everywhere the campaign team is going, and it falls within our planning. We go there and we talk to the various radio stations. Like right now from here, JM is going somewhere in Doma. We are going back to Bechem to do stuff on the radio stations and stuff, because this feed that is picking, you are doing, not all radio stations are picking. So as we are here, we talk to the local radio stations that the local people also listen.
What feedback do you get?
Very, very powerful.
Very good feedback.
Very, very. Some radio stations are in these areas that it will surprise you that that's the only thing that people know. They don't listen to the ones that we sit in Accra thinking that day. So it is really, really going down well, and we are very happy. And we also see this opportunity to talk to the groupies, like go to a place that they are doing basket, whatever. We talk to them for them to believe that, oh, okay, so we're also part of it. So it's really doing well.
And then to drum home the whole SME drive, yes, and then the new tax regime.
When you say SME drive?
Okay, so I mean, we're promising to create a new tax regime that will empower SMEs in terms of
small scale industries.
There's a number, exactly, and a number of the people that operate in the creative economy also operate within the small scale industries. You go to every corner, you would have somebody that sews, or somebody that creates men's shoes, or somebody that does something within the creative economy. We've been speaking to them to get their feedback on the manifesto. Most importantly, continue to promote the message that what we're coming to do relative to SMEs, how we're looking to cut some of these taxes that put undue burden on them, and most importantly, speak to them about the things that we're looking to do with the Exim Bank, for instance. I mean, today we're hearing that the Exim Bank is being given to talent of the industry, for campaigns, which is good. But for us, our position has been that as much as that is good, we are willing to be able to ensure that such funds, if it is there, will be made available to a lot of these industry people so they can work with it and create more wealth. Kente products are still, when you go to Benue, for instance, it's still, there isn't still any roadmap in terms of how to enable them to produce, to export, and create more wealth. These are some of the things that is always on our
Rex, let me chip in this. You have peers who may support the other side. I'm talking about the MPP or CPP or any other political party. I'm sure when you meet, naturally, you should engage yourself in conversations, debates, compare notes here and there. What has been the response? A+, for example, was actively campaigning for Nana Akufo-Addo. Today, he's all out there. I don't know where he belongs to today, but there's obvious reason to believe that he's falling out.
Yeah, a lot of them have fell out. But some of them are not able to come out to speak. But behind the scenes, they'll tell us, our people have disappointed us. We cannot talk. So, in fact, right now, to even engage them is difficult because they don't know what to say.
But Socrates was bold.
I think, let me find out from our producers if it is ready. I'm told we have it in our files. Let's listen to Socrates, for example.
Please. And the office and everything now in my own capacity, my BBA. So, if somebody is listening, they should tell the president that some of us are getting tired. They should tell the president some of us are getting tired. The frustration is too much. The frustration is too much. We've been quiet for far too long. And it looks like some people feel, say, being quiet means you are stupid. No. Being quiet is giving people time to reform. We voted for a party. The president is doing whatever he can do. But there are people who don't understand why they are even in office. There are people who don't understand and value whatever they have been assigned to do. Somebody should tell the president something is wrong. We are tired. It's far too long. We can't come and sit here on an empty stomach for 4 years. We finish and we go and beg friends for food.
Nothing is happening.
So that was Socrates. The body language tells it all. It's not even the words. You can see anger. Somebody who is ready to bite. You can liken it to a wolf which is being provoked. But that is the reality. We give credit to OKFM where we picked the video for. He actually spoke on that platform. But have you been disappointed before? This is a long history you have in the industry.
I was very sad for Socrates because I know the energy he put in campaigning for MPP. So after I saw this video, I called him behind the scenes because with the creatives behind the scenes, we are one people, So he was really angry, very, very angry. And I told him that he should relax and exercise patience. When JM comes, things are going to change because for JM to even or NDC to agree to set up our own ministry because for them they are just there, and the promises that is in their manifesto, the government don't care. If you can.
Okay, we don't have much time. This text message says it's from Aliyu Mahama Busa. He didn't tell us where he sent this message from. He says, "Good morning, Mr. Eric and your honorable guests. God bless Rex Omar for his display of knowledge and understanding about the creative arts industry. Victory truly beckons. The people are seriously buying into JDM's ideas and manifesto. Please tell JM to say something about teachers' legacy arrears." I also received something from Ahovi and so on, but they are related. Unfortunately, we don't have much time. This is TVXYZ, Wizard TV. Watch that on Facebook and YouTube, and I'm sure several other platforms. I've told you, just keep your tabs on your phone or any of the facilities you have, that's the devices you have, you can use to watch us. And anytime we are live, the signal will be on, you follow us, because anytime John Mahama is on the move, we are following him, and ahead of the 2016 elections and beyond other conversations Wizard TV will bring to you, we'll use our platforms to help you monitor and follow the conversations that will be trending. Before we wrap up, let me give you some 30 seconds to 1 minute because of time. What is your message to those watching you?
My message is anybody who falls within the creative industry or who thinks of falling into the creative industry, whether it's your family or your children or whoever, this is the time. Go and vote for John Mahama, because the People's Manifesto promises a complete paradigm shift, and this is our time.
Abu, you appear very young on the screen, but you have in-depth knowledge about policy issues under the sector. Yes. Your brief message. People are impressed.
The message is that the creative economy, has the potential to create more wealth and employ a lot more younger people. This is the time where a party has expressed proper commitment and willingness to enable a space that is this powerful to really create value for the country. So vote for the NDC on December 7. Most importantly, vote for President John Mahama and our parliamentary candidates to ensure that when we come, all these brilliant ideas that we've promised are actually delivered to ensure that you have a more powerful creative economy.
Okay, so we wrap up with one of the latest remixes by Rex Omar. I think it was something band. New Ashanti Band.
New Ashanti Band, that's my band.
New Ashanti Band.
Yes, and you see, this video was produced by your director, Bismarck. Bismarck actually did everything about this video.
I never knew beyond shouting on me. You have so much talent. But the industry, you understand now, has a lot of people behind the scenes. That's all we have for you. Join you again another time.
say, go papa.